Getting rich isn't about cutting every expense. It's about building systems so money works automatically, without stress or guilt. Ramit Sethi's I Will Teach You to Be Rich is a practical guide to building a stress-free financial system. Instead of focusing on extreme frugality, Ramit emphasizes automation, conscious spending, and long-term investing. His definition of being rich is simple. Spend extravagantly on the things you love, and cut costs ruthlessly on the things you don't. Automate your finances. The foundation of Ramit's philosophy is automation. Paychecks flow in, savings, investments, and bills flow out automatically. What's left is guilt-free spending money. This removes willpower from the equation and turns money management into a system, not a daily struggle. Focus on big wins. Ramit discourages obsessing over small expenses like coffee. Instead, he focuses on decisions that matter most: housing, transportation, investment structure, income growth. These big wins have far greater impact than small sacrifices. Guilt-free spending money should support your values, not restrict your life. If a purchase aligns with what you truly care about and brings lasting joy, it's worth spending on. Keep investing simple. Ramit advocates low-cost index funds, long-term investing, automatic contributions. Trying to outsmart the market is unnecessary. Consistency beats complexity. Wealth is a designed life. The book ends with the concept of a rich life. Ramit asks, what does your ideal day look like? Money is simply a tool to make that life possible. I will teach you to be rich. Shows that financial freedom isn't about discipline or sacrifice. It's about intentional design and smart systems. Next, we'll explore how this automated approach can be customized to different lifestyles, goals, and stages of life.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into author Ramit Sethi's big idea, how to stop living a smaller life than you have to. It's all about designing what he calls a rich life.
Okay, so let's start with this vision, because it's pretty much the heart of the whole concept. Now, it's super important to get this. This isn't about being lazy or just sleeping in. No, it's about control. It's about designing a life where you're not just constantly reacting to someone else's schedule, someone else's demands.
You know, this comparison just nails it, right? I think most of us have probably experienced that vacation on the left, the one where every single decision is all about price, squeezing the whole family into a tiny room, stressing about every single dollar. But that rich life vacation, that completely flips the script. See, the goal isn't just to save money. The goal is the experience. It's all about figuring out what you truly love and then spending extravagantly on it, totally guilt-free.
Okay, so if that vision of a rich life sounds so good, why do so many of us feel, well, completely stuck? I mean, think about it. Why are our default answers to "how are you" always busy or tired?
Well, Ramit has a name for this problem. He calls it the great squeeze. And it's that feeling, the one, like you're just treading water. You're working harder than ever, but you're not really getting ahead. It's that nagging sense that maybe the game is rigged and that the playbook we were all handed, it's just plain broken.
And yep, this right here, this is that broken playbook. I mean, our parents' generation, they follow these rules, and for a lot of them, it actually worked. But today, a college degree can mean crippling debt. A safe job is, well, anything but safe. And a life spent cutting back on all the small joys like lattes, that just feels like a punishment, not a real plan.
And honestly, that's the real tragedy of it all. If you follow this path, it often just leads to this cookie-cutter life that doesn't really excite you. We end up getting average results because, hey, we're following average advice. We're living a life that kind of feels like a really long commute to a job that's just fine.
But here's the thing, what's really holding us back? It isn't just outdated advice from the outside world. Nope, the most powerful barriers are usually the ones we've built up inside our own heads.
So let's get real for a second. Let's just ask this question. When you think about making a really big change in your life, what are the very first thoughts that pop into your head? I bet they're probably not about the logistics of it, right? They're about your own perceived limits.
Ramit has a name for these too. He calls them invisible scripts, and they're exactly what they sound like. They're the stories we repeat to ourselves over and over, so many times that we start to believe they're facts. Things like, oh, I'm just not good with money, or, it's just too late for me to start something new. But here's the kicker. These aren't truths. They're just narratives, and they're the very things that keep us paralyzed. Just recognizing them, that's the first huge step to rewriting them.
So the solution here, it requires a pretty massive mindset shift. See, a frugality mindset gets obsessed with what he calls $3 questions, like, should I buy this coffee? But a rich life mindset, that asks $30,000 questions. We're talking about the big wins. So instead of worrying about a latte, you spend that same energy learning how to negotiate, say, a $15,000 raise, or how to automate your investments so they earn more for you over the long run. That's where the real results are hiding.
All right, so this brings us to what you could call the ultimate big win. Once you stop sweating the small stuff and asking those little questions, you can finally focus your energy on the single most powerful action you can take to escape the great squeeze, and finally take back control.
And here it is, the crucial point. For Ramit, the most powerful tool you have for designing your rich life is starting a business. Now, hold on. It's not about becoming the next tech billionaire. It's about creating an asset, something that gives you freedom, that gives you control, and the ability to increase your income completely on your own terms.
And the thing is, he argues it's not some big mystery. This isn't some get-rich-quick fantasy that only works for a couple of lucky people. No, it's about following a proven system. It's about finding something you're good at that people will actually pay for, packaging it up in a way they want, and then just making that first sale.
Okay, to make this really tangible, let's stop talking in abstract terms and focus on a single number, $1,000. What could an extra $1,000 a month, every single month, what could that actually do for you?
Because that extra $1,000, it's not just money, is it? It's a mortgage paid off almost 2 decades early. It's the freedom to take that dream trip you've always wanted every single year. It's the ability to go to a restaurant and order whatever you want from the menu without even glancing at the prices. It is, quite simply, breathing room. It's the power to say yes.
All right, let's head into our final section here and see how this all builds up to the most important takeaway of all, which is defining what this actually looks like for you. And this quote, this is really the key philosophy that ties everything together. It's a total rejection of that old idea that you should just sacrifice your entire life saving up for some future you might not even get to enjoy. It's about finding that sweet spot, that balance between enjoying your money now and building for the future. And this really gets to the most crucial point of all. A rich life is deeply, deeply personal. It's not about the stereotype, the top hat and the limo. Maybe for you, a rich life is the luxury of time, being able to pick up your kids from school every single afternoon. Or, hey, maybe it is a material thing you've always wanted, like that cashmere jacket. Or maybe it's just the freedom to be incredibly generous with the people you love. So the real takeaway here, the thing to really chew on, is this question. And this isn't some fantasy about what would you do if you won the lottery. No, it's a design question. It's about consciously, intentionally deciding what a life of abundance, freedom, and meaning actually looks like to you, and then using these kinds of tools to start building it, starting today.